Hello, it is once again time for NASCAR Know-It-All with Steve. My name is Steven, coming to you live from Southern Indiana. As promised last time, I would talk about the chase for the championship this time. So I've decided I'm going to pick a few of my favorite chase moments at the Richmond Cutoff race to talk about tonight. First and foremost, what could be more exciting about the chase in the inaugural chase for the Sprint Cup Series Championship, then called Nextel Cup Series in the 2004 series season? That particular season, when the idea was created, many drivers absolutely hated it. They thought it was a joke. One such driver was Mark Martin, but he actually admitted at the awards banquet that year that the France family came up with an amazing idea with the chase for the Nextel Cup Series Championship. Although the series was different that year, after the 26th race at Richmond, the top 10 in points would advance to move to the championship. Not only was it the top 10, though, also any driver within 400 points of the leader would be moving to the top 10 as well. Moving into the chase. When we looked at that particular number, the reason they chose 400 was no particular driver at that point in the season had ever come from 400 points or more behind to win the title. In fact, the largest comeback ever was in the 1992 season when Alan Kulwicki, driving the number 7 Hooters Ford Thunderbird, or Underbird as he had it spelled at the Atlanta race when he won the title, had ever come from further behind to win the title. He was 268 points behind when he left over with 8 races left in the championship season. He would come back to win the championship by 10 points over Bill Elliott. Of course, that was with a different point system than we have now. 10 points then would be the equivalent of 2 points today. At that particular time, it was the closest championship, although 2 championship races since have actually been closer. 2004, when Kurt Busch beat Jimmy Johnson by 8 points, which would be equivalent to 1 point today, and 2011, when Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart actually tied for the championship. Who would have ever imagined that would have happened? But it did. Stewart, of course, won that particular season, having 5 wins to Edwards' 1. But anyways, in the 2004 series, the chase actually was extremely exciting. Coming into the 26th race of the year, Jimmy Johnson was the points leader. But keep in mind, if anyone actually left the race out of the top 10 in points, but within 400 points of Johnson, they also would advance to the chase. In the race, Johnson would actually crash. He would finish around 39th, but the reason the 400-point mark even came into chance was because Johnson realistically clinched his spot in the chase around the Watkins Glen race, so the team started experimenting with engines. Unfortunately, this didn't prove to be too wise for them, as the team would break a transmission at Watkins Glen, lose an engine at Michigan. He ran pretty well at Bristol. Seems like he finished 3rd if I remember correctly. He did actually end up winning the race at Pocono, which was before Watkins Glen, but in the California race he also broke an engine. 3 engine failures leading up to the Richmond race really brought a lot of drivers close to that 400-point mark, especially around 11th through 15th. As it turned out, Jeff Gordon was not that far behind Johnson in points. Gordon entered the race in 2nd, and he finished the race in the 3rd position. So he really kind of ruled out that 400-point mark. Anyways, the race was still an exciting one. Coming into the race, from 7th place, Elliott Sadler, to 15th place, Jeremy Mayfield. Anyone had a chance. I actually stand corrected. 15th place would have been Dale Jarrett. Jeremy Mayfield was in 14th. Had a mathematical chance to either make the chase or miss the chase. Of course, missing the chase would have been devastating. One particular driver coming into this race who had really made one phenomenal comeback was Mark Martin in the 6 car. 6 races prior to the chase starting, he was 17th in points, almost a full race out. But after finishing 2nd at Pocono, 3rd at Watkins Glen, 2nd at Michigan, 12th at Bristol, 3rd at Fontana, entering this race, he had climbed his way all the way up to the 9th position, and after qualifying on the outside of the front row, it looked like not only could he make the chase, he may even win the final race. That didn't quite happen. The wreck that Jimmy Johnson was taken out of actually involved Casey Mears, Jimmy Spencer, and Dale Jarrett. Martin was running just behind Johnson, both running in the top 5. But this was before double file restarts, so you had multiple drivers a lap down starting on the inside of the lead lap cars for each restart. When this wreck happened, Johnson spun out directly in front of Martin. Martin did not have enough reaction time to go low or high, basically, if he really all he was going to do was going to drive right into either the engine of Jimmy Johnson's car or the rear end of Johnson's car. Martin thought quick. He turned to the left immediately, spun his car out intentionally to go into the infield, hoping no driver would come down there and hit him. That actually worked out great. Even though Martin lost his track position, he still had a car that was still in working order, and he actually was able to come back to finish fourth, thus solidifying himself as a chase contender. He would go on to finish surprisingly not second in points that year, as he had 5 times in his career, but he ended up finishing fourth. Nevertheless, he still went into the final race with a mathematical chance to win the championship. So after that particular wreck, many things happened in the race. Other drivers looked poised to take that 10th position. I forgot to mention Elliott Sadler, who came in 7th in points. All he had to do was finish 41st or better to clinch his spot. He had won previously at Montana the previous week, really solidifying himself as a championship contender. 8th place Kurt Busch. Some people worried about him, but he only had to finish, I believe, 32nd or better to advance. And Kurt Busch had like a dark cloud really over him at Richmond. He had so much bad luck at Richmond that many people believed that maybe he wouldn't make the chase. As it turned out, Kurt Busch really thoroughly dominated the race, and it looked like he would finally end his Richmond bad luck. But unfortunately, he would run out of gas while leading with 9 laps to go, thus relinquishing the lead. He would actually come back to win the particular Richmond Fall race the next year, but Kurt Busch probably doesn't remember losing this race at Richmond in '04. He probably remembers the role he went on in the chase, going on to win the championship. His first and so far only championship, as well as Jimmy Finning, as crew chief, and of course Jimmy Finning has already announced he will retire at the conclusion of this season. Will either Finning or Busch ever win another championship? Finning only has 1 year left to decide, but he is in the chase, we know for certain. In fact, both Jimmy Finning's car with Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch as a driver in the number 41 Stewart-Haas Chevrolet is also in the chase this year. So what will happen? Only time will tell. But anyways, going into the final race of '04, Kurt Busch held a slim lead. He qualified second at Homestead next to his teammate Greg Biffle. Kurt Busch ended up leading the first lap. Could it have been his teammate Greg Biffle let him win the pole and lead the first lap? I think so, but you never know. From that point forward, Greg Biffle dominated the race and went on to win. But Kurt Busch, on lap 86, had a flat tire. The actual right front tire came off, and he just barely missed the end of pit wall. I bet he missed it by that much. But his wheel coming off the car actually brought out a caution for debris because the tire was on the track. That actually kept him on the lead lap, allowing him to come back through the field. Also, there were many different strategies that day because short rain bursting showers kind of plagued the strategy that day. Jimmy Finning called a perfect race, and in the end, Kurt Busch finished second. Kurt Busch finished fifth in the race, good enough to win the championship. Jimmy Johnson was the one who finished second in the race, as Jeff Gordon finished third. All of them looked to have a chance to beat Busch, as the race ended with a green-white checkered. Tony Stewart was the leader on the green-white checkered, with Greg Biffle running second. Again, a nod to Greg Biffle, since you see the number 16 behind me. But on the restart, Jeff Gordon restarted third. He looked to the inside of Biffle as soon as they took the green flag, but Biffle timed the restart perfect, trying to get to the outside of Stewart, which he did, and he slowed his momentum by side drafting him down the front straightaway, and he would go around him in turn one. Johnson took this advantage to follow Biffle, and he moved up to second, thus finishing second, thus taking second in the point standings. Also in that particular 2004 race at Richmond, Casey Kane entered the race as the 10th and final driver who would make it in the chase. An unfortunate run-in with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a subpar 20-something place finish would end his chances of making the chase. Coincidentally, the next time the series came to Richmond, Casey Kane would win, picking up his first career victory. So who was going to be the one to replace Casey Kane from the top 10? Many drivers took their chance. Jamie McMurray looked poised to take the position, and many people believe he had the position in hand. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He unfortunately would lose a cylinder right near the end, finishing 10th in the race when he needed to finish 7th or better to make the chase. So we know he didn't make it. Who did? How about, surprise, surprise, Jeremy Mayfield, Casey Kane's teammate at the time at Evernham Motorsports. Mayfield's crew chief for this race was Kenny Francis. Ironically, the same crew chief Casey Kane still has to this day at Evernham Motorsports. Jeremy Mayfield won the race, ending a 4-year winless drought, but more importantly, making the chase, leading to a 10th place points finish, his third best career points finish of his career. 1998 he finished 7th, 2005 he finished 9th. A couple of other dramatic chase moments. The 2005 chase. Matt Kenseth was 22nd in points following the Chicago race that season, and with less than 9 races to go, it looked almost impossible to make the chase. Kenseth would make a phenomenal midsummer run to come back and make the chase after winning at Bristol and finishing 3rd at Fontana the 2 races prior to Richmond, and at Richmond he would finish 2nd. Who did that knock out? Coincidentally, Tony Stewart. Stewart was the 2005 champion, but he missed the 06 chase. I think I said that incorrectly. I did, actually. That's incorrect. Tony Stewart obviously made the chase in 2005 because he won the championship. But still, Matt Kenseth made a phenomenal comeback, and it was Jeff Gordon who missed the chase in 05 along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. In 2006, this was the last year of only the top 10. It was Casey Kane who made the phenomenal comeback that year. He would win the week prior at Fontana and finish 3rd at Richmond to solidify himself into the chase, knocking Tony Stewart out of the chase. Stewart was running a backup car that night, and he ran horrible. He was never a factor all night. Unfortunately, Stewart would fall out of the top 10 in points, finishing 11th. He wouldn't make the chase. Coincidentally, the 05 champion, Tony Stewart, the 05 runner-up, Greg Biffle, and the 05 third-place finisher, Carl Edwards, none of which made the chase in 06. They ended up finishing 11th, 12th, and 13th in points. What a bizarre season. 2007 was the first year that the chase was expanded to 12 drivers. But at this point, it was just the top 12 in points. By 2010, the series made another change. It was the top 10 in points, and then every driver within 11th through 20th had a chance to make the chase on bonus rounds. How you got that was the drivers with the most wins would end up getting these bonus rounds, or wild cards as they were called. We saw, really this was not that exciting because most of the drivers who got that only won 1 race. Casey Kane last season got in after winning 2 races, but that was kind of abnormal. Actually, 2011 was a bit abnormal also. Brad Keselowski made the chase after winning 3 races, but had it stayed to the old top 12 rule, he would have made the chase anyway because he made a huge summer run coming from the mid-20s in points all the way up to 11th with 3 wins in that time period at Kansas, Bristol, and Pocono. He also had a runner-up at Watkins Glen and a phenomenal finish that particular day. This is the first year of the new, exciting chase format. After tonight, 16 drivers will be in the chase. From that point on, we'll have the contender round starting next week at Chicago. After the contender round, 4 drivers will be eliminated. Then we'll have 3 more races. After that, 3 more drivers eliminated. Finally, we'll have 3 more races, 4 more drivers eliminated until we get to the final race at Homestead, where only 4 drivers have a mathematical chance to win the championship. All 4 of which will enter the race equal in points, no bonus points, no points for leading laps. Basically, whoever finishes the highest amongst the 4 will be the champion. More than likely, you're going to have to win the final race to be the champion. So what will we see tonight? It's anyone's guess. But according to 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion and 3-time Richmond International Raceway winner Jimmie Johnson, tonight's winner will likely either be Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, or Jeff Gordon. Thus meaning we will not have another new winner, thus meaning the 16th driver in on points will be on points. So Greg Biffle, Clint Bowyer, or Kyle Larson likely will be the final driver in on points, assuming Johnson is correct. Johnson also believes those 3 drivers are still the drivers to beat for the championship. He did not mention himself as a favorite to win. So who am I picking to win tonight? I said Matt Kenseth earlier in the week. He hasn't been that good in practice. He's only been so-so. With that being said, Brad Keselowski has never won here. I'm probably going to say he's going to be the driver to beat tonight. He has led a lot of laps in the last 2 Richmond races and really has nothing to show. But we've reached the end of our time period for NASCAR Know-It-All with Steve. Tune in next week for shows about Chicagoland and important moments in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series history. My name is Steven, signing off, saying good night, everybody, and enjoy the race.